As someone who watched the original Jungle Book when I was so young that I barely remember any of it, I'm so happy that this was my first kind of conscious experience of it. I was a bit skeptical about this film because the other live action Disney remakes have not been particularly overwhelmingly good so far, so I was really worried that this was not going to go as well as everyone hoped it would. I've never been so happy to be wrong, ever. I loved this film. I'm going to start off by just saying I loved this film. I don't have a negative thing to say about this film, honestly. From what I've been told, because I really cannot remember, this film does follow the same story from the original animated version. Boy grows up in wild, doesn't really belong, other animals telling him he doesn't belong, they're trying to hunt him, things like that. And it's like a massive chase. There's so much running through the trees and swinging on branches and different animals just coming in and out. It's so pretty. I think it's difficult when you've got a film depending so solely on a child actor because child actors can be very hit or miss, but I thought this kid was great. I don't care what anyone says, I thought this kid was pretty good. There were some moments that were a little bit stilted, but it's to be expected, and in general, he was a really great Mowgli. I am so thrilled that technology and special effects have got to a point that we can do this now. I mean, I just imagine someone like my grandma sitting and watching this film and imagining being her, because this generation, my generation, bit older, is just so used to seeing this by now. I mean, this was just kind of another level for me. But I imagine the older generations watching something like this that maybe haven't seen as many of the newer films that aren't kind of in touch with it, and just being able to see something they never really expected to see like this. Like, my grandma is not really in tune with all the movies that are coming out at the moment, but if I showed her this, I have no doubt that she would just be astounded, because it is just a visual spectacle. It looks so real. So real. I didn't once stop and think that, oh, well, I can see that's just not a real animal, you know, looks a bit fake, looks a bit CG. I never thought that once in this film. Everything just looked so real and it meshed so well with the human boy. And it all just seemed to mesh together beautifully. And I loved how they just kind of wove the songs into the film without making it a Disney musical, kind of cheesy. They just wove it in really clever, lovely ways, and it was so nice to see the original songs that just everyone knows. Like, there's not a single person that doesn't know Bare Necessities, and the way they wove it in was just so lovely. And whoever cast these people as the voices just deserves an award, because they were just so good. There are times when a voice just really creates a character, and I think just Bill Murray as Baloo is the shining example of that. Like, Baloo is Bill Murray in this film. Baloo is just Bill Murray with fur. You could just tell that they based the character around him. I could just tell that it just brought so much more to it. So many layers that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't Bill Murray voicing him. I loved Lupita Nyong'o as Raksha. Her voice was just so sweet and lovely, and you could still hear just like little essences of her natural accent. It was so pretty. And Scarlett Johansson's voice just kind of sends you in a trance. It was just perfect for Kaa, the kind of mystical winding in and out, trying to hypnotise Mowgli. It is Scarlett Johansson's voice. It just fits so well. Ben Kingsley's voice is just so strong and defined. I could just listen to him talk all day. And Idris Elba as Shere Khan was really, really menacing, but not in an over-the-top villainous way. It was just so strong, just so profound. It just fits so well. I've lost track of the amount of times I've said so well and so good in this review already, because just everything about it was so good. And this film genuinely made me laugh. It's quite hard to make me laugh in a film. I think, like, this is the only film other than Zootopia that I've laughed at in a really long time. And I'm the kind of person that just, like, is brought close to tears just from sheer cuteness. And the cuteness in this film was so overloaded. It was... Okay, I thought of something that wasn't particularly great. I grew a bit tired of the jump scares, just when it kind of goes quiet and then bam, Shere Khan's in your face, bam, King Louie's in your face. They did it a few too many times, and I mean, it's a good trope to use if you want to get the audience on the edge of their seat, and you kind of expect to use it when obviously that you're being hunted. But maybe they used it a few too many times. I don't know, just when I see things overused too much in the space of 1 hour and 45 minutes, because this film is under 2 hours, it's 1 hour 45, and if I see it too many times in a short space of time, it starts to kind of grate on me a bit, and I start to notice it, and it starts to take me out of it. And I just don't enjoy it as much. But I thought this one was the perfect length. It didn't need to be any longer, because if it was, it might have dragged out a bit. But nothing seemed to drag out it moved so swiftly and so quickly, and just everything was action packed. There was always something going on. There was always someone running, or someone jumping, or someone fighting, or someone giving an order. It was such a thrill to watch. I'm going to give this film an 8.5. It was just so pretty, and the characters were great. I mean, story was pretty simple, but it's based on a classic. It has to be simple. It's a kids' film. It has to be easy for them to follow, but with enough going on to keep everyone interested, and I feel like this film had the right amount of it. And considering I was really skeptical about this film and thought that it wasn't going to be as great as I wanted it to be, I was very pleasantly surprised, and that's just made me love it even more. Thank you for watching my review of The Jungle Book. I will see you in the next one.